So today I just want to just quickly kind of talk about kind of like a heavier issue. I don't know. I didn't really want to right away because like this is definitely something I would need to prepare. But like it just something happened recently, and I kind of just wanted to talk it out, and it has to do with my opinions and values and all that stuff. I'm pro-choice. I'll just start by that. I'm pro-choice. 100%. That's how I view the abortion issue today, and just for a lot of reasons. It's kind of partly it reflects my parents' opinions too, but also as I kind of grew up and started having different experiences and meeting different people, because I feel like that's what happens is your like opinions on things like that, like really controversial issues like that change like once you meet someone who's, let's say, like going through that, and then it can change your mind and push you in some direction. So for me, in the last few years, I've just completely become pro-choice because of like the things I've been reading, because of the people I've been meeting. So yeah, and that's how I view it. Recently, this past week, at my university was visited by a very extreme anti-choice group or pro-life group, who are very much against abortion. They travel around in my state, Ohio, and they're basically spreading their opinions about abortion. They're very against it, all that, but which is fine. I understand that it's a very like touchy subject. It always has been, and like that's why I was really scared like for a while, like in the past years, to kind of come out as pro-choice and as well as non-religious. I feel like those are the two things that are kind of like, people are right away like, whoa, but it feel like eventually I just didn't care, and it came up too much. What basically happened was that at my university, this group was visiting, I'm part of a couple groups on campus to do with feminism and gender equity, and we heard about them coming because they've already hit a couple universities near us, and we heard about them coming, and the reason we were concerned is not because of necessarily what they were spreading, even though it was completely opposite of our opinions, but the way they spread their message was especially interesting / horrifying. It was that they had a huge, and I'm sure a lot of groups do this, but they had huge pictures of kind of like mutilated fetuses and terrible pictures of like just really gory pictures of abortions. And most of them are fake, but it doesn't matter. They were still very terrible. They were meant to look real. They were very, very graphic, and they were pretty big and on these like poster boards, and they just go around, and that's part of their protest / raising awareness thing, is that they show those pictures on campus, and as a scare tactic, essentially, but to me it sounds like a shame tactic, essentially, to just convince women don't have abortions. We were very concerned about that, and it made me just really start to think like, oh my gosh, that's just the wrong way to go about that. Like, I know that people get really really over these controversial issues. People get very like passionate and stuff, but oh my gosh, that's just the wrong way to do it. And what we were concerned about, and I didn't even think about this at first, but I did, but I didn't think about it to this extent. But these people are completely delusional, because they're ignoring the fact that there are, in fact, girls on campus who have had, on these campuses that they're visiting, there are girls who have had experiences like abortions, or not even, or maybe miscarriages, or almost abortions, or something. And you don't, like, that is a lot of trauma to go through, and the fact that they just kind of ignore that and they just focus on, scaring the woman into not having it with these images, it makes me scared, and it's just ridiculous. That was our main concern. We're like, well, we need to like warn people on our campus, and our group did that, and we basically did it by just hosting this little counter protest, which wasn't as much of a counter protest as much as a kind of like a safe space where we had just cookies and information, and flowers, and it was like just a really good event. And I think a lot of groups, I'm sure, do stuff like that, and it was just really good. It was just really good to counteract the negative energy that was happening there. It just was like counteracting like the images that were being shown, and we got a lot like throughout the week up to the day that the group was visiting. We made sure to send out Facebook posts and letting people know, like warning them like this group is coming, blah blah blah, they're gonna be here from this time to this time. And we got a lot of feedback from a lot of students saying, oh my gosh, thank you for letting me know, like I would have had a breakdown if I would have not known about this, and I would have just walked into campus and seen this. And that just made me think like, wow, this is like as much of a like mental health issue as it is like not sexism slash not like not shaming women kind of thing. And it just I mean, you can have your opinions, that's a touchy subject. A lot of times I even like I don't mind if people are pro-life, because sometimes they just it's just how they feel, but the most important thing to know about this is that we just want there to be a choice for the woman. It doesn't necessarily mean we are pro-abortion, because pro-choice does not mean pro-abortion. Like I'm sure that's what you hear all the time from pro-choice people, but that's really just bottom line. That's what it is. It's not pro-abortion. Nobody wants that to be the first choice, but it's necessary, and it happens. It's a medical procedure that happens. And the fact that this group was just kind of blatantly ignoring that by just putting up these images and being just so aggressive about it just shows that they're out of touch with reality, essentially. And of course, all their main arguments have to do with God and religion, and that's all fine. It's just but it's also works into that shaming thing, because again it just, people are out there religious who might have had an abortion. You're just kind of just making them feel so terrible for what they did when it was their choice about their body, and it was not, they don't deserve to be just treated like crap. I don't like pro-life groups like that at all, and if that is just the wrong way to do it. And I didn't get a chance to talk to them because mainly our goal there was to not engage with them, but by looking at their Facebook page and hearing what they've said through other people, and just basically the vibe they were giving off, that is just the most like extreme way that you can go about that situation. And it just I just don't think that's the right way to go about it. I mean, I will listen to your opinions if you have it, because this is a personal issue. I mean, it just is. It has to do with your body, and I understand that. But and if you choose to have the baby, then that's fine. And you think, yes, like I want to try and have the baby no matter what. Every life is sacred. Then that's fine. But it's just when they end up like shoving it down people's throats like this, it's a bit much. And and it's, the images are just such a symbol of like complete like aggressive kind of ignorance. But it just ultimately just makes me sad that that these people, like, I don't know too much about like pro-life groups, but the most, like, I've seen way too many like these where they just are very, very aggressive in their tactics and aren't open to just kind of, I don't know, they're just right away go to like shaming us, like our opinions, like pro-choice people. And the other thing is, at our protest, there are people there separately who had a sign that said something along the lines of, oh, you're pro-life? Great, so you should care about, and it said something along the lines of, you should care about the hundreds of kids in foster care in Cuyahoga County, which is our county. And I'm like, yes, spot on, exactly, because what I really want to know is what is the exact goal of groups like this? Not all pro-life groups, because, whatever, some are just a little calmer, some just, are just like us, just, spreading their awareness, spreading their ideas. But what are groups like this where it's all centered around, showing these images and shaming women, and, it's talking about the wrath of God that's going to be coming down on them if they have an abortion? And what is their goal there? I mean, duh, it's to save the unborn. Okay, but that's the word that really that bothers me when they say like, oh, every life is sacred, even the unborn. And it seems like they just focus so much on making sure that baby is born. But then what do they, like, do they really, like, what is their plan then after that? What really bothers me is that, is when groups like this focus too much on like the quantity of lives over like quality of life. And that's what I like always try to emphasize, and like what I've learned through this is just like sometimes women just can't have a child because a child changes everything, and a child is a responsibility that you have to just hold on. It just is a part of you for the rest of your life, and you're raising a human being, you know. And it's so easy to just right away think, you know, if you're pro-choice and if you know, want abortion to be legal, you want it, you know, you're murderous and you don't care about the life. But I don't understand why they can't look at it as they just want a better quality of life for the child. So I don't know. I just want to know, like, how are they? What is their goal here? Like, by like going to these campuses and talking like this, like, just okay, let's say you, or like going to clinics and you know, kind of convincing women, you know, as they walk in or walk out, or protesting and saying, you know, don't have an abortion, don't do it. Like, what is ultimately their goal there? Because, for example, like, what if like a pro-life group like this, let's say they're reaching out to women and they're trying to convince them not to have an abortion, okay? And how about this, instead of like shaming them and making them feel like they're murderers and they're ripping babies apart, they should just say, hey, you know, we think that there's a better way here. We think that you can actually have your baby, and you should, you know, every life is sacred and it's worth it, and blah, blah, blah. And like, I wouldn't exactly be upset with that. But what kind of bothers me is when they just start getting so aggressive. The woman says no, and she says, no, I still can't have the baby. They right away jump to the conclusion that she doesn't care about it, when it's the complete opposite. Because this is how I see it. This is what I want to see pro-life groups be doing, and what it would actually, I think, define the word pro-life even better. Instead of just focusing on like showing these images, let's say, like, of like the fetus, and like, look at what you're doing, you know, like, because that's just delusional. Like, we could come right back at them and show like starving children in America who have no parents or something, who were born into low-income families, and it would be basically like, I don't know. So I want to see more pro-life people, like pro-life groups. Let's say they go up to a woman, they go up to like, let's say a group of women, they try, their goal is to convince them to not have an abortion. Let's say a woman, you know, they hear a woman wants to have an abortion, like she's at a clinic or something. They're like, okay, don't do it. We don't want you to do it. Like, you can do this, you know, we can, you know, you can do it. Like, you know, every life is sacred. And then what they should do is they should ask the woman, and let's say they convince the woman, they succeed, and the woman's like, okay, well, you know, I think you guys turned me around, blah, blah, blah. And then they should turn around and they should ask the woman, what is the situation there? Why did she want to have that abortion? Or why did she, you know, even have one before? Like, don't right away, like, shame her even if she's had one before, or like, if whatever, like, but ask her, did you even consider that? Why did you consider not having a baby? And then if they just listened, you know, and it, you know, it all leads back to empathy, like, just be like empathetic with the woman. Like, her answer could be anything. It could be, it could be, she was raped. It could be, it was incest. It could be, she doesn't have the money. She's in school. She's you know, the dad ran out, or it could just be she didn't want a baby. But I would like to see in those, especially in those cases where, you know, the woman's like, I just don't have money. I'm in low income. I can't. Physically, I cannot raise the child. I want to then see those pro-life groups help that woman with her process. Like, I want them to follow through, and like, after she has the baby that they saved, after they save that life, like, they should then go back, like, and help her, and help her get on welfare or whatever she needs to do to make sure that that baby has a quality life, that they just didn't save a fetus, but they saved a child. That's just kind of how I look at it. And I'm just kind of saying things. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of groups do this, but I don't hear about it. All I see is these kind of groups where they're just like, they're just basically saying it's murder, don't do it. It's murder, don't do it. And, you know, we could go back and forth tons of times with like the scientific definitions, like when is it a life, when is it not. But ultimately, fine. Yes, it is a potential life, but it is a woman's body. And it is her life, and it is her child, it is her potential child. And if she wants to choose what's best for her and ultimately for the child, then that she should have a right to do that. So that's just kind of a little bit about what happened in this last week, and mainly I just I feel very strongly about this situation, especially like I just because it's just gave me a really interesting like firsthand experience with like a group like this and how they view things and how they deal with abortion issues. And so yeah, it would just be interesting to see more pro-life groups doing that and just focusing more on like not like shaming the women, not having this like shame fest where they just make them feel like crap and eventually maybe like, you know, hurting them mentally, but like just rather it's just needs to be up to choice. It's pro-choice, not pro-abortion. That's the bottom line. That's how I see it, and that's how a lot of other people see it. It's a necessity, but ultimately it's just quality of life over quantity, I think. But yeah, so that was just my little spiel. I hope you guys liked it. It was a little deep, but I'll be posting more stuff soon. I hope you guys liked my last video, and I hope you like this one, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. Hi guys. So hope you guys liked my last video. How many of you have already seen it? I think it went pretty well. It was a little rehearsed. I wish it was like a little, I hope I didn't bore you guys a little bit, but I hope you guys liked it. I'm sorry it was a little late too, because I feel like I posted it right on Halloween or right before Halloween, but it's fine. If anything, it's some advice for next year.